Ooh, excuse me. Still not.
Okay, there's one guy. Again with the focusing. It's still having trouble with it.
Oh,
Oh, wait. We need more light in here.
all right. Here we go. Now it's. Let me share.
Focusing. Focusing. There we go. That is focusing.
Hmm.
Bermuda.
Bahamas. Is it working all right for everyone else? Because it keeps freezing on my phone.
Oh yeah.
Could just be my
How's
phone.
the performance of the stream? Is it working good? Working back? Is it fluctuating? Not sure. Seems to be fine. Says Nick Dublink.
Mhm.
Dublovic. Zachary Van Miller says, yeah, we're good. Billy Dog Bob says it's good. Says the volume is very low. Okay. That we can fix. Um, volume, I can definitely make it louder. Let's see. Volume, I'm going to go up one notch on gain on Nick's, one notch gain on mine. How is this volume? How is this volume? How is this volume? How is our volume? How is the volume?
Oh,
Volume,
I should be
volume.
saying things. It
Yeah.
says volume is crisp, volume is not low.
Volume is not low. Better, better, good, very good, great. Okay. Okay. I'm checking the volume here. Make sure there's no peaking. Peaking, pa, 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 pa.
Pa 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 pa. Papa. Roman is
Yeah.
soft. Well,
Roman
I
is
mean,
soft.
well, that could just be like a general statement of my character.
Right. So I have this projecting voice and
Yeah, and I kind of have like I don't know, acid reflux voice. But,
keep animal. Yeah, I know. We didn't hit record yet on the Zoom for iTunes yet. So okay, all mics are good. Okay, then we're gonna hold for sound now.
all right. Hello and welcome to RCR podcast number 71. Ain't that a kick in the boat? I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
And we just got done with our weekly writing excursion. And so now we are here to chat with you fine folks about all manner of things that are of interest to you.
First thing that's interesting to me is I got to fix that camera so it's centered better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It says
there we go.
they're saying I'm a little quiet, but I wonder if that's just me because I'm getting over a cold. So
all right. I mean, I can up the gain on Nick a little bit.
yeah,
Just up his mic. Now, of course, he's farther away from the mic than I am.
yeah. It says the volume is still very low.
Very low on Nick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm going to stop recording here on the Zoom. We're going to do a second take on the intro as we fix Nick's
Yes.
volume. My phone is somewhere else.
Let me see.
All right. Our mics are going to turn on and off for a minute. test for you.
All right, this is me. This is me. Hello? 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 Hello?
Test again.
Test again. Test again. All right, I think we're.
Test at a normal speaking voice. Test at a
This
normal
is
speaking voice.
this is how I normally talk. This is how I normally. Muting out for some reason, like my phone. My
Okay. I mean, it sounds fine to me. Both mics are on. I mean,
all right. Well,
I'm gonna up. I hesitate to go too much higher on Nick's
yeah,
thing
because
here. So
if I get excitable, then it's going to be RIP headphone users, and we don't really want that. So, yeah, we're just going to get started with this.
Okay. We're thank you for bearing with us. Also, the gain is turned up higher on mine, so I'm going to gain higher on Nick's, pot down, but gain up. So hopefully that'll balance our mics out. We're going to do another countdown for holding for sound. Thank you for bearing with us for this.
Welcome to RCR podcast number 71. Ain't that a kick in the boat? I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
And we just got done with a riding excursion. And now we're here to talk to you about any number of things of interest to you and also to us.
I'm drinking a martini that I made last night, put it back in the fridge. Realized I had too much to drink, so I just put it back in the fridge. And now I pulled it back out of the fridge. And now these olives have been marinating in gin and vermouth for like 10 hours.
And how is it in terms of like in comparison?
Succulent. It's fucking succulent.
I mean, I'm in this weird spot where I've all but given up the drink. It's weird. I think I'm going on like a month and a half, 2 months, which is like absurd for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't even. It's annoying to me now. Like not the people or what it makes you do, but like how it makes you feel.
I
just get heartburn now, and it's annoying. And I'm too old for this. I don't want to end up with like that, you know, any type of problem where like suddenly I sound like a pack a day smoker, which I mean, you know, it's a thing.
Alcohol with me is always a compliment. I mean, definitely I went through periods like college periods and then depressive periods where I used to drink a lot every single night, but that was like when I used to drink a lot of Old Crow,
Yeah,
just straight whiskey, and like that would be my drink for the night. But I mean, now it's more of kind of where I am and what I'm doing. I adore it on airplanes and airports and hotels and editing. I mean, I look at it like an accessory.
yeah.
But the act of getting sloshed isn't fun. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm never gonna drink at all. Like I'll have the occasional, you know what I mean? Like I might even get plastered like once every blue moon, but the time of me going to like open mic nights like every week and having enough to like settle my nerves and then sort of, you know, or just like having a relaxation bourbon, like those days are kind of gone just because it's like it just doesn't do it for me. And I don't know, it is what it is.
I wonder what Ryan's would taste like mixed with a chai tea mix I have out there, or ginger. Actually, ginger and cream. Does that go together?
I haven't tried it on my ginger tea that I usually make, which I can't make now because I left my pot at my sister's in Jersey, and I'm not going to drive an hour and a half to go get it. But It's something that like I've thought about. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, strangely enough, ginger tea and turmeric are kind of they work together.
Mm.
Um and I don't know if that's like a pairing that shouldn't work, but
Mm-hmm.
it does because adds this like earthiness. I know it's like a regular tea reviews, but
Yeah.
I'm drinking tea right now
Mm-hmm.
because I'm trying to cut back on caffeine.
Good move.
Also, because I'm like anxious enough already
Mm.
about life and everything.
I like the caffeine. I like that kick mixed with that the townie sandwich, which is just an egg sandwich, like caffeine mixed with protein. And now I'm a focused machine again, and I'm writing. Uh, that is like when Nick and I write together. That's the favorite, my favorite part of the week
Yeah,
because I am full of decisions, which I will now execute.
yeah,
And because we had snow recently in PA, even when you work from home, a snow day is still a snow day. Like stuff's closed. Um, it's a burden to go out, and I just stayed home most of the day and just I don't normally edit on the weekends. I try to have a weekend like normal people, but nope, no one's really doing anything. So I just kept editing. So I'm now, like, next week's video is already done. So yesterday I was all fidgeting. I went to my parents to do laundry. It's like, I don't have anything to do right now. The next narrative isn't written and isn't recorded. And I'm looking forward to getting Nick's half, uh, after this podcast so I can start editing again and have a reason to be walking around. Because there was a moment yesterday where I was just standing in my kitchen, just what do I do?
mm.
I have nothing to edit. And I don't want to sit at the computer because then I feel like a waste. So I just go to the gym and lazily work out, like expand my time throughout the day.
Yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, you could work on some other project or you can work on writing. It's like I'd rather just be around people, but not have to carry the conversation. My friend Jess came by and we just went to the brick house and then just talked. Um, but great, good people.
yeah,
It's social interaction. This is a muscle that doesn't really get worked on a lot. I am wholeheartedly looking forward to skiing with friends, my friends Dono and Foster. I think I'll go out there. Like I'm gonna get all high and mighty when I go out to visit them. I think we're gonna go to a skiing place in like called Perfect North, which is kind of the Midwest. Now, I get a big head because I live near the Pennsylvania's like tallest ski. Like it's Pennsylvania ski resort. We don't have gondolas here. We're not that big, but it's big fish in a small pond. Like Blue Mountain Ski Area is Pennsylvania's largest, and it's like we're the best because we're Blue Mountain. We got Challenge and Razor's Edge and Paradise. We have quad lifts, which is it's like someone going from a Focus to a Focus ST and thinking they have a race car. They don't. Well, our mountains aren't that big, but compared to other places, it's like we got the big dick walk around here with Blue Mountain. Of course, you go up to like Killington and freaking what Stowe up there. Those are the real mountains on the East Coast,
yeah,
uh, which I do want to go to, but it's like if I'm planning a trip that far, it's kind of a pain to drive all the way up there and there's no real airports. Like if you're going to do that, you might as well just go out west and go to like Aspen or something like that if you're really going to make a big trip out of it. Um I haven't gone skiing. I only went skiing once so far this year. Sidewinder at Blue Mountain isn't open yet, which is a particular trail run that I adore. So there's no real reason for me to go. Otherwise, I'd just be skiing on the same runs I did last time, and I want to go up once that trail is open. But and I see the super chats coming in. We will get to them,
yeah. I'm
but
screenshotting each one in case of a crash that we don't lose any.
good move.
So yeah, and I'm also screenshotting some regular chat questions so that you know if people want to donate, they can. But I mean, I'll pull select questions so that people who maybe like can't really, it's like I don't. It feels weird to me to be like, well, to be noticed, you have to pay. Like that's just weird to me.
It
But
is, but I mean,
it's the internet.
we don't want to get in the way.
of
Like no
our
good or
yeah,
yeah,
hobble ourselves, or
right.
yeah, just because I feel weird.
Hmm.
But I saw Ford versus Ferrari again.
Again.
Yeah, it was I had this friend who wanted to go, and basically it was the last theater playing it in the area, and I realized that a lot of the issues that I had with it the first time really aren't as pronounced on a rewatch. Like I loved the film, super happy that it got in the best picture race, but my issue with it on the first watch was that I basically felt that they were downplaying the amount of engineering that goes into what they're trying to do. So that
Yeah.
Le Mans is treated as this sort of endurance race when, yes, it's about physical endurance, but it's also about mechanical endurance.
Mhm.
So it's less about you get a lot of, or at least on that first watch, there was a lot to do about, you know, making the car go fast,
Mhm.
all this different stuff, making sure this, that, and the other thing, and making sure that, Ken Miles was the right driver for
Mhm.
this. When really I felt like there should have been as much primacy placed on, all right, is this the right car to be able to make the entire journey? Like on a rewatch, I realize how kind of very pointed and nitpicky that can be,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, it's not something that necessarily uh casual moviegoers are going to get.
Right.
They had to couch it in terms of what the viewing audience is going to understand.
Mhm.
So realistically, they just wanted to tell a story about racing, and like any racing movie, it's about going fast. So going I understand it. And it's a wonderful movie because it's really a sort of sports movie, an underdog story. And it's interesting in the sense that it humanizes Henry Ford II
Does it?
in a
Yeah.
way that like Ayakoka's book doesn't.
Right.
But or most sort of recounts of the man
Yeah.
don't. So like there's a scene in the trailer that's played for last, but it's actually fairly it's fairly not serious, but it's kind of poignant.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's something very nice. Now, granted, like John Bernthal is not doing Lee Iacocca at all. Like
Right.
he's just kind of doing John Bernthal.
Mhm.
But it's funny because like I still get Lee Iacocca off of him. But the
Right.
thing is that the movie doesn't do timestamps. So it doesn't really
Yeah.
tell you where in the timeline you really are, so
Mhm.
that they're talking to Lee Iacocca as though like, why are we going to take an idea from this guy who's a failure, the biggest failure in his division, when I'm like, wait, doesn't this take place in like the early to mid 60s? Like, even if he hadn't, if this is pre Mustang, still like
Yeah.
56 for 56 was a big deal,
Right.
and so it feels weirdly revisionist.
Mhm.
But I mean, I guess I don't know how, because I didn't look online for one of those fact check things about how much of this actually happened. Like, what was it? Was the ego that caused the Ferrari deal to fall through
Mhm.
with Ford, the merger or whatever? It's just I don't know. It's a very interesting and well made movie, and what I love about it is that there are it just everything from like the editing and the cinematography. It's very propulsive. It's very
Mm.
much a film that wants to keep moving, that even when you're in boardroom scenes or in office scenes or even in down home quiet family time scenes, you still get the sense of motion, like
Mhm.
the plot is moving at all
Mhm.
times. And yeah, it's one of my favorite Christian Bale performances. So yeah,
Mhm.
if you have the option of seeing this movie, see it in a theater. But I think it'll still play really well, even if you don't have like an insane audio hookup and a big flat screen. Like I think this is the type of movie that the reason I think it got in for Best Picture is because it probably plays really well on screeners,
Yeah.
kind of like the whole Crash principle, where you don't
Mm.
have to see it on the big screen. Something like 1917, like you have to see on the big screen.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. But it's something where, I mean, the whole movie is edited in a way to make it appear that it's edited in real time, so that the entire adventure, well, save for one part where they kind of like skip ahead, but the whole movie you're kind of on the same journey as the protagonists.
Hmm.
And it's arrayed in a way where the shots don't go one to one necessarily in terms of like minute by minute, but
Hmm.
it's edited in a way where the whole film is meant to appear as one long take,
Right.
which is, I would imagine, incredibly hard to do, but it's fun to try to look and find out where the cuts are,
Yeah.
because I'm just like, okay, well, there are no physical characters on screen for like this split second. That must have been a cut there somewhere.
Hmm.
It's just weird and funny and fun. And well, I mean, not the movie itself, but the act of figuring out where the cuts
Yeah.
are, because the movie's devastating, but it's also weirdly hopeful. It's I don't know, it's strange, but it's my favorite movie that I've seen in the calendar year. So
Mm.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I accidentally got logged out of my thing, so I'm gonna go back in so I can screenshot more super chats.
While he's doing that, talk about RCR's future plans. We talked about this last podcast. The next big trip coming up is RCR Phoenix. That is in March and around St. Patrick's Day. All the cars that I wanted to film for RCR Phoenix are already scheduled and ready to go. Did not pick a hotel yet, but it's probably just going to be somewhere near Sky Harbor. Um, I want to do a meet, but we haven't found a venue yet, and that we haven't picked a place where we'd be able to have a car meet for 2 hours and then be able to piece out. I don't want to have a car meet that lasts longer than 2 hours because I worry that the longer we hang around, the longer knuckleheads will show. The higher the chance of knuckleheads will show up. I think 2 hours, start on time, end on time. That'll be it. So like 5 to 7 p.m. At 7 p.m., Nick and I hard out,
Yeah,
like right then and there.
like
The
not
meet is
even
over.
saying bye to people.
I know.
I mean, and it's weird because we don't really have the choice, because if you say bye to one person, you got to say bye to everybody, and then
Yeah.
you're holding this whole announcement thing, and you're just drawing further attention to yourself. If it could ideally be like the Chicago one, where it was just on, it was like in this place that was kind of secluded,
Hmm.
even though it
Yeah.
was, it's a place, but it was relatively deserted. So
Aaron says you got to meet up with Sarah in Tune in Arizona. She might even let you do her MR2 project car. Don't know what that is. I have to look that up. I'm unfamiliar if that's a channel or something else. Matt says RCR Japan would be really cool. Good, because that's happening.
yeah,
Um, that is in 2021, 2022, I think.
yeah. So
Yeah, 2021 is RCR Australia,
Australia,
and RCR Japan is 2022.
yeah. Hopefully,
When are we coming back to New Zealand? I don't know. Like me coming back to New Zealand, NZ3 would probably just be me again because I just want to go to New Zealand to hang out with the Johnsons
yeah.
and meet other people. But ours, New Zealand to me has become like very personal. That's going to be a country I go to over and over again, but just to hang out.
Yeah, and why not? I
Yeah.
mean, it's a wonderful place,
Hmm.
and I imagine Australia would be too.
Let's see. Other parts this year, RCR Pacific Northwest it's going to be a combination of Oregon and Washington. Um, so that's going to be in May, middle of May. We'll be flying into PDX into Portland, but we won't be doing any filming in Portland proper because it's very difficult. So unlike before, when we filmed stuff in Portland, we were pretty close to the airport. This time, we're going to be farther out in the suburbs. We're going to do some filming there, and then we're going to go up into the mountains a little bit to do some filming up there. Whether we have a car meet in Portland, I don't know. I want to do a crossover with Fred from Down the Rabbit Hole, that YouTube channel. So he's going to be our camera car driver out there. So he's going to be in the background of some of those videos. Um, but we'll see if we do a Portland meetup or not. It depends again, venue and time. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
I'll gonna get to super chats in a little bit. This not too much time has passed since the last RCR podcast and this one.
Yeah.
So apart from me just complaining that I have not enough work to do, that's really kind of it. What's
Yeah.
been going on with me. Um, we had a bunch of snow, and I got my snow legs back with the Forester, doing donuts and doing drifts in parking lots, and packing a lot of snow into the wheels of the stock steel wheels of the Forester. Do a good job at holding on to the snow that's in there. So
I believe it. I mean, yeah. It's something where didn't you have this problem last year, kind of?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that snow packs in those wheels, and then like it'll freeze and thaw, and there's almost like a little trough in there. So it just holds water in this little interior rim of the wheel behind the spokes. So then you get this piece of ice in there that's stuck to the metal, and now your wheel's out of balance. So until that melts or you chip it away with a broom handle, your steering goes hugga 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 hugga.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Mm.
If you do RCR Germany, I'll let you drive my 1963 something or other. Because my chat is. Wait, no, yeah, I'm doing live chat. It's weird and specific. But yeah, sorry, just going through the super chat and getting back to where we were. I mean, I think part of having any car during the winter is just constant maintenance because the we didn't even really get hit like for real. Like because last weekend was, I want to say, our first significant snowfall of the season,
Yep.
and it was only still a few inches at most, but really it was maybe, well, in and around my area it was like one or two, like enough to where you had to like salt places, but the bigger problem was the ice. Like
Right.
the ice is still there, so it's just but the other part of it is even with that small amount, I still had to kind of, just constantly like scraping underneath, getting into places where snow and ice had gotten, because I just don't want those things to kind of overtake my car like a symbiote suit for Spider-Man, or the Venom things. But I mean, also by the same token, I think your car, despite being better equipped for it, the design of it also holds
It's
moisture.
just they just made those wheels really cheaply, and they didn't think them through. Once my
Mm.
tires get worn down, it's time for new tires. I'm going to try to find some better Subaru wheels and put them on the car, so that doesn't happen anymore. And two, the car looks a little bit nicer. I'm not going to put HRE wheels or anything crazy on that. It'd be better just to find like a set of Impreza wheels or something else, so I can use the same size tire. So I'm going to go get a throat lozenge, and then we're going to get to some of these super chats here.
Rock and roll. And there was one super chat that I didn't get to screenshot. It was somebody saying hi. It was the very first super chat. I believe it was for $5. Either way, to that person, whoever it was, thank you so much. You're awesome, and you're all awesome, whether you for whatever reason that you're here. We're just happy to have you, and you guys are great. Can't like it's weird. I feel so freaking lucky just to be able to like do all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do was be a writer when I grew up and be paid to write, and now I'm doing this, and I feel incredibly lucky and privileged to be able to do this and have my writing read or heard, experienced by other people. So, and that's kind of like where the turning point was for negative comments, where, they used to ruin my day back when I first started doing this. And now it's kind of something where, okay, if you want the privilege of being able to, if I want the privilege of being able to continue to live my dream, then I got to put on my big boy pants. And, and now it's to the point where like I don't even think about those types of things because the magnitude of what I get to do is it outweighs everything. So I'm just incredibly thankful for everybody who's here for the podcast now and for the videos and for other things that we do. So thank you so much.
Well said.
And down at the bottom, because I know that I'm gonna forget the guys. Oh, there, above, there, hot brown, cold yellow from Junkhead 86, $2. Thank you so much. I'm glad I finally got to say your name.
Going off of that, Speed of Sausage, I'm going to pull this a little bit closer to me. I have an eye appointment later today. Get some new glasses.
Need to make one.
Speed of Sausage says, opinions on lowriders. Would you review one? Yes. Would it be safe for me to make fun of them? I mean, lowriders are different than stanced cars. Stanced cars don't move. Lowriders typically are on air suspension, so they can go up and down. So it's the more practical option.
But like there's almost like a cultural component to lowriders that you don't get with stanced cars. Like this Latino community thing. Like even if that's not if they aren't the only people who, like if we aren't the only people who drive lowriders, it's still an issue if you're going to talk about them because you almost like can't not address it.
It's like the Carolina squat for pickup trucks or brodozers.
Yeah. It's like, what are you really what? I don't know. It's a slippery slope, but yeah, I would absolutely love to do a lowrider. I love that lowrider that was at the Chicago meet.
Yeah.
That was really sort of gassed up and ready
Right.
to be. I don't know. It was cool. And they are cool in a
They're
vacuum.
Cool. Yeah, they're cool because there's engineering that goes into them that isn't really used in any other vehicle.
Yeah.
Like the point of this thing is to drag the frame, to be able to rest the frame on the ground, but
Yeah.
then also be able to be driven. But I'd like to get one on a lift just to see what sort of suspension goes into these things.
Yeah.
I'm assuming airbags, but there's other versions of this. It is exotic to me because we don't get them up here.
Yeah. No.
And you have to put smaller wheels on them. Because then it's different. I mean, lowrider to me doesn't mean big wheels.
Yeah.
It means small wheels, so the car has so the wheel itself has room to move in the wheel well. If you have big wheels, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Unless you essentially build a jacked up truck out of your Impala.
Which I mean, that's tall order.
Right. So my opinion is positive. I like genuine curiosity. AG asks, hi guys. I picked up a Scion TC last week, but tell me, is the 2AZFE really an oil chugger? I don't think it is. Why? Does it consume oil? I'd have to look back because the TC we did was written and voiced by Ben Wright.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm wondering to the extent that its reputation precedes it in that regard. Like if it has a reputation as being an oil chugger, because
it doesn't seem like a Toyota thing to have an engine that has anything wrong with it. Like name me a bad Toyota engine.
But that's the thing of like I'm wondering if there's our inherent bias in favor of Toyotas that are maybe shielding our ability to comprehend of a bad Toyota engine, because it's kind of, the review like last week or the week before about recommending the Toyota Corolla. Well, that's not made up.
No,
we literally recommend a Toyota Corolla because people come with those questions are, what should I get? And what they really want to hear is you should get the thing that you're currently thinking right now that you really want to get.
Right.
But it's like nobody wants to hear like a Toyota Corolla as the recommendation, but until they actually have one. And then I think when they realize the amount of trouble that everybody else is having with their cars, like it's a budget thing, but it's also a reliability thing.
Right.
As I continue to suck Toyota kneecaps. So it's something where I don't know what people are necessarily expecting.
Yeah. The Toyota Corolla, the diet and exercise argument to good health and good driving. Like, well, what do I need to do? Well, how can I get? I don't want to feel terrible. Diet and exercise. Diet and exercise. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's not exciting. Well, this is what works.
Yeah.
It's not up to me or you. All right. Zeus, 2011. Hi, RCR. I want to get a 2 GB Eclipse. Your input or worth?
Your input on worth. Yeah.
On worth. Guy near me has a 2G Spider. It's used, but the 2G is the car I've always wanted. See, this is one of those questions.
Yeah.
Should I get this car? I have all my emotions wrapped up in it, and I always wanted it since I was a kid, but I want your opinion.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of just, it's not a setup, but it's pickling my answer, or
well, he says he figured no more than 7,000 for good condition and 2,000 for rough. Thanks. And I'm wondering to what extent you're going to be able to find those prices. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where you are, because I don't know that I'm going to find those prices around here
no.
for like, because there are things that are priced way out of my range that are nowhere near in the condition that demands that price.
Right.
And I think part of it is also dependent upon where you're trying to find this car. Like, are you going to a dealership? Are you going to Craigslist? Are you doing Facebook Marketplace? It's like a slippery slope of what you're willing to pay, and it's predicated on how hard you're trying to search. It's like when you got the Forester,
how hard you're trying to search.
Yeah, you patiently waited for a manual to pop up.
Yeah.
And that's when you got it. You said, "Hey, give me a call if you get this in manual." Boom.
Yeah.
And it was a long wait, because that's
at least a
yeah.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just searching, it's waiting, it's, I don't know, getting all your ducks in a row.
I mean, you're talking about a DSM car that weren't made that well, that are fun, but a bit fragile. This is not going to be a daily driver. This is going to be something over which you will wring your hands.
Yeah.
But if you really like it, and if it's your dream car, then you should get it. But I immediately want to go financial consultant on you. Said, do you have any debts? Do you have any student loans? You living at home?
Yeah.
And then when you answer those questions, is now the right time to buy a fun car? And, well, you got to do this when you're young. Says who?
I mean, that is a thing that I heard a lot of. Well, you got to travel now when you're young, worry about it later. It's like, I'm worried about everything now. And it's enough to kick the can down the road to like future you, because for all we know, like, like future Nick's a prick. Like, who cares about that guy?
Yeah.
But it's a thing where I just, I don't know. I worry about those things now, and I always did. Like, even in my 20s, I'm just, like, I don't want to travel now. Like, how the logistics of it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, how would I be able to reasonably enjoy myself? And even then, like, okay, so you have debts and things. If you did,
right,
would you be, and you still get the car anyway, would you be able to enjoy it in good conscience, knowing that if things get to an unfortunate enough place, like, I might have to let this car go? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not really one to talk. I had like loads of medical debt, and student loans and all that stuff. I mean, I still do, but it's one of those things where like it's not just about living within your means, it's about living within your emotional means as well,
Right.
because you don't want to have to get this thing that you've always wanted and then have to give it up, or
me and my MR2.
Yeah, exactly.
Having 3 cars felt like having 4 cars. Going from 2 cars to 3 cars is like going from 2 cars to 3 cars feels like going from 2 cars to 4 cars. That extra one vehicle that needs an inspection, needs an oil change, needs insurance, needs all this. It was just, it felt like double the amount of bills just coming in and out.
Yeah.
So for me, the ideal is daily, fun car, and then motorcycle, which requires way less maintenance. It only comes out from time to time, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of room.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good question. I hope we answered it. We'd honestly need more information to give you a good answer. But thank you so
Yeah.
much for donating. That was a generous donation.
Yeah. Thank you so
Goose.
much.
Nick Raymond. This we kind of answered. Do you guys come to Phoenix yet? Yes, we're coming in May. I mean March.
Or March. Yeah.
March. Got a bunch of random and unique cars for you, including a new Nissan. Thank you so much for what do you say?
He said any new Nissan, which is
working
even
on Nissan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Nick. We already have our cars squared away for RCR Phoenix, but we're excited to come.
Yeah, and hopefully you can come to the meet if we manage to find a place to have it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the donation.
Question. I Stink wouldn't be a podcast without you. What are your guys' dream car chase vehicles, either to watch on screen or participate with? Dream car chase vehicles. I mean, camera cars. I know what mine is. Oh, there's two of them. Either the current generation, which is 5th gen Toyota 4Runner. Every now and again, I look at those. It may, on a long enough timeline, a 5th gen 4Runner may become my car. Now, that's a truck, really.
Yeah.
I don't need a car that big. But when I saw the amount of space it is to work in that vehicle, like, this is a road trip machine. Like, we could really go do some off-road cars with this and have a camera car that would work off-road. Not that the Forester doesn't. It just is really bumpy because it's a small wheelbase thing and has car tires, good car tires, thick car tires. But the difference between a Forester and a 4Runner is massive. The other one is a different Subaru Ascent. The big one there.
Yeah,
that was a good car.
Mine is weirdly enough would be a Suburban. I'm just like, because you get like the height a little bit too, and so I would be able to like angle down and sort of have that look.
When we used that Suburban, I think once or twice, the guy who lived in West Reading.
My friend
he had an old school Suburban.
He did.
Too.
Yeah, he really
did. Was mean. Not the best on gas. Those things are now becoming collectible because everything old is new again.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Suburban would be good. I think it would be a gas hog. But then, well, see, the 4Runner, you're going to be averaging 20 miles a gallon on that. That thing's going to be thirsty. And I knew after filling up some cars like that, you fill up your car, you fill up my car. My car is like a 12-gallon tank. I don't forget what yours is.
Oh God, offhand, I don't even remember.
I don't know, but it's a Mustang. It can't be huge.
Yeah, it's not.
So what I'm used to, if I need to fill my tank up from below the third mark, like when it's close to the letter E, I put the gas nozzle in, put it on automatic, get the squeegee out, clean the rear window, walk around, and by the time I finish cleaning the front window, I hear the click.
Yeah.
So I'm kept busy. Now that's about 12 gallons and all pump the same. But when you have a truck that's like a 24-gallon tank, now it's just there. You're just ka-chinka, 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 ka-chinka. And, I think a full tank for me is like $30 or something like that. Then it's double when it's 60. I'm like, yeesh. Now, granted, it just holds more. Right. But it's that number.
Yeah.
Because like the Falcon gets terrible gas mileage, but it doesn't really feel that much because it's a 10-gallon tank.
Yeah.
And because I can't, you can't stick the filler nozzle in the Falcon's filler tube in the back because it's made from an era where nozzles from the fuel pump were shaped differently. So you can't click it off. If you stick it in, first, it doesn't stick in. I've talked about this before. The filler neck on the Falcon 90s to the right. So it can't go in. So you got to kind of hold it there and spray it at the bend, and you can't spray it at full. But I fill it up every time it goes down below. So because I can't click it off, I have to know how much I'm going to put in before I put in it.
Yeah.
So I know that if it's at the middle, 5 gallons is what's in the empty space. So I'm only ever putting 5 gallons in that car at a time. So I'm always stopping, but it's fun to stop in a classic car because then you get to have the old guy conversation. People look at you. It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
Yep. So it doesn't feel like it uses a lot of gas, but it does.
Yeah.
It's just, like I guess student loan payments. It's a lot, but when you space it out, it just becomes routine that this is the amount.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring that up.
Oh no. I'll be paying that all forever. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Um, do 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 do
Herb
do do.
Benalis, I think, is the next one. Oh yeah, because after I stink. Um, when will you guys? Oh, and thank you for 4.99, Herb. When will you guys review a Honda Civic wagon? I own two. I'm in California. I would love for you guys to review one or both of them.
There's a guy with one of those all-wheel drive ones from I think the late '80s or early '90s in Jersey. We've been trying to get together and do it, so I do want to do one. You know the routine, year, make, model, city, state, regularcars at gmail.com. Put your phone number in the body of the email and a picture if you want. And I'll save it. I don't know when we're coming back to California. California for me is always this way station between other countries now. It's just LA is Moss Eisley and Richard Hive of Scum and Villainy. Um, but
I feel like the only person in the world who unironically loves LA. Now,
yeah,
granted, would I want to live there? Of course not.
no,
But I love visiting there, and every time I'm there, it always feels like it's too short. But what I mean,
yeah.
that's fine because I think part of why I still like it is because it's too short.
Mm,
Like if I spent an extended period of time, I would inevitably run out of things to do, probably, or just get annoyed at how many beautiful people there are.
yeah.
Because just very, they're just people walking down the street with like no clothes on.
Yeah, yeah.
And or that time where there was a guy, I saw this dude's with his dick out, taking a leak on like Sunset, like out wherever the Palladium is. Like he was just like grabbing a leak because he didn't want to lose his space in the line for the Dua Lipa concert. It
Wow.
was just kind of random, and I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of, I kind of expect this from Los Santos,
Yeah.
but
And I had that weird moment where the guy who picked me up to go to the airport when I was on my way to New Zealand part two was the guitarist for the band The Main Element from the '70s.
damn.
Um, so we talked about music for a little bit, and he said he mentioned that he was been to Australia 20 times. I'm like, wait a minute, this is odd for a Lyft driver. And then he said he was this touring musician. In the same manner of the sheep review, have you guys considered reviewing each other? Kind of do that every podcast,
Kind
but
of.
uh I guess.
I mean,
No, I haven't considered doing it. The only person I've considered reviewing is Matt Happel.
yeah, because I wanted, like, if we were going to do a weird sort of Christmas special type thing, I remember we were talking about it last year of like, why don't we just review a person? And
Yeah.
like Matt Havel was really the only person that came up,
Yeah.
of if we were going to review a human. And even then it's like,
You're still reviewing a car because
yeah,
that's what he creates.
more or
Yeah.
less, yeah. And but it's other elements of a person,
Mhm. I think like reviewing each other, like you pretty much know who we are and what
Yeah.
we do. So there's nothing new to talk about. Jacob and
Oh,
Pennsylvania, I think I could pronounce Polish last names really well. Kazitsky?
mhm.
Kazertsky. Kazertsky, I think. Um, I decided to fix my accident damaged C30 instead of buying a 330i wagon, since my uncle said he would fix it for cheap. Well, that's good. Cheers from, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name of your town, Poland. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, I'm sure if they pronounced the name of that, I'd be able to recreate it perfectly because a lot of Pennsylvania was settled from settled by people from Poland and Lithuania, and as well as Germany. So the names are all familiar. And I just thought like we had a lot of like Polish names, and but we just thought of them as names
Yeah.
in high school, or in elementary school rather. We didn't really have Latino last names, or like French. You can't really. I don't think you can really tell like English names, English last names, because they're kind of just general white people names,
I guess.
I guess.
Uh,
Hmm.
like James
Yeah,
or Edwards.
we had this guy who had the last name of Shane. I was say we had Shane and then Shanemans. We had Shane, Shaneman, and Shanemans. Um, we had we had a Khan. We had Beck Bechtel. Oh wait, we also have one of our officers is named Bechtel.
Huh, like the
Um,
test.
um, yeah. Anyway, I could reminisce about high school names from the mid-state PA. Bob says seventh day of broth diet.
Pity me.
Me. Do you guys ever diet?
Ah, I mean, sometimes I do smoothies, and just because I don't like, it's weird. It's kind of antithetical, but I don't actually like eating. I would rather have it over with and just move on with my day. If I could take it in like a pill or a drink, that would be ideal. And so sometimes I just kind of make smoothies. And then like I lose a bunch of weight because I'm getting all my nutrients from liquid. And it's something where like I am eating solid food sometimes, but for the most part, like when I lost a bunch of weight like the other year and I was like, totally killing the game. And that was mostly why. But now it's like that thing of it's very time consuming to kind of prepare everything. It's something where you would preferably do the whole meal prep thing and you would be able to get meals that would account for all of your nutritional needs and find a way to balance all the different needs that you have. But I think, you know, they always say like health wars are waged in the kitchen rather than the gym, you know?
That is true. It's like the saying, you can't train away a bad diet.
Yeah.
I see a bunch of those like dad bods at the gym. They're there all the time, and I'm like, look, man, you can stay on that treadmill all day, but if you keep throwing back that soda and keep eating those Pop Tarts and those Eggo waffles, man, there's you'd have to be an Appalachian Trail runner, which is the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
Like hiking a marathon every day to be able to increase the demands of I guess your for your body to demand that much glucose to fuel your muscles, that it begins to burn everything it gets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, sugar is a freaking killer. He said as he's drinking Ryan's, which is just a cream liqueur. Ryan's, the cheap Baileys, which has sugar in it. Which is why I'm an aficionado of hot sauce, because using a little bit of that is way better than using ketchup, because most ketchup has what? High fructose corn syrup in it.
Yep.
That makes you fat. Anyway,
Yep.
Kivo85 said first super chat. Oh, thank you. And thank you for the superior euros. And I think I made the right decision. Cool. Thank you. No
Yeah.
question, but
Very nice.
I greatly appreciate European Union currency. Man, I just want to go back to the UK and just hang out with Tom. Just not have to film stuff. Just go back. Like
Yeah.
go back to Arden's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great. I miss the UK. I really
Tom said he
do.
moved.
Yeah. Where
Yeah.
to?
But
Oh, yeah.
they
Well,
got a
I mean,
house.
okay.
They got a
Yeah.
house somewhere. I
Right.
mean, so I still want to do this thing, and this would be a project that wouldn't make its money back, but Tom and I were talking about and I'm sorry this is a name drop, just so you know what you're talking about. We're talking about Tom Clark, the former lead singer of the band The Enemy. He and I were talking about the logistics of because he really likes like the 80s and 90s Ford F-150 or something like that. I'm like, well, we just kind of trip over him here. So what would be the cost of bringing one to the UK? I mean, there's some that exist over there anyway. But getting one here, getting it fixed up at Bruce's, taking it over after all your excise taxes and everything in the UK, how much would we have to charge to resell it over there to break even? Like, I'd be fine doing a project like that if I could make my money back and just make someone's day, that they'd be able to have like a cool American truck and roll around the Midlands of England in it. Or the same thing of doing it in New Zealand, which is like the king of car culture over there, just to bring like what would be fun? F body Camaro. We saw that one F body Camaro at the car meet in
Yeah, we
Auckland.
did.
Um, or like it's like the Pontiac something. There was this Pontiac version of what I think the Impala was, or maybe it was like the Oldsmobile Delta 88 or one of the lesser GMs that you can usually buy for like $5,000 and they're fine. because they weren't in any movies, they weren't in any rap videos or something like that. So no one really wants them, but they're just as good as anything else.
Oh,
Sean Brewer says, "How do you get motivated to go to the gym?" Easy. I listen to Jocko Willink. Like, just get fucking motivated. Like, if good, you feel bad, good. You feel tired, good. You don't want to work, good. Time to prove it to yourself. And after listening to that, man, all right, man, let's fucking do this.
yeah.
I'm not gonna wuss out. I haven't been in months. Oh man, wasting my membership, and I need to get in better shape. Thanks. Just listen to Jocko Willink until you can't stand yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And then go. Then you will go. You will go to the gym. That's how I go to the gym.
I look
listen
for-
to.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I look forward to it because it's my opportunity to listen to my podcasts.
Yeah.
Like I actually look forward to it because I realize like now I'm going to get to burn through all the because it's stuff that interests me. So if you find something that can
Yeah.
take part of your time, and make it go faster,
Mhm.
then that's great.
I've been getting so much into like the early 2000s rap that I have this thing where I'm on the elliptical machine, and usually you have your old folks in the cardio room doing their gentle exercises,
Yeah.
like doing the rowing machine, and there's no torque going into it, or they're on the exercise bike, or they're walking on the treadmill as they watch the news on the TV. But in my head, it's just roll out, roll out. What you got in that bag? What's in that bag? You got in that room.
Hey, you want to die?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounded wrong.
That car doesn't come out till next year. How the fuck did you get it? You must have eyes. and just having this, because I think we were talking about that was like the height of rap's bling culture, like early 2000s.
Yeah, we mentioned this last week that it was kind of that time where everybody was just flexing.
Yeah,
which is not to say they don't still do,
Yeah.
but I mean that's where it was really like, look at me and all this money that I have. So,
Yeah. Oh, it's fun music. It's fun hip hop. Like I get it how it like scared people back in the day, but this is all very, very tongue in cheek lyrics.
Yeah, it really is.
I think Ludacris doesn't get the praise he does. I guess people got held up by that "move, bitch, get out the way." And half of it was that Chris Rock bit about it, but it's fun music.
It really is. I mean, I don't know.
I'm probably gonna listen to it again. Roll out, because all we need. I want to play that in that marching band I'm working on. Antonio Panevic doesn't have a question, but thank you for. I don't know what currency BAM is, but thank you for that.
Vitor Fernandez. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your first name. Don't want to disrespect you by trying. Or butchering it rather. Thank you for the $10, no question. But very much appreciated.
Thank you.
MHT $5. Always happy when I catch you live.
Oh, thank you.
Your recent review was great. Reminded me a lot of your guys' early days, which I consider to be your best work.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah, we were talking about this at breakfast today. That I think the Yaris, if we had to shop around RCR to try to get a pilot out of it, that Yaris review is pretty concise about what we do. There's a lot of poop jokes, but then there's literary analysis. Talk about the owner is pretty concise within 10 minutes.
Yeah, worked out.
Thank you so
nicely.
much.
Cesario JPN. $5. Are you farting?
No.
Oh, all right. Just checking. Mr. Regular and Roman. It's not Latinos that are into lowriders. There's a huge following in Japan. They even have a show for it. Search YouTube for Mopona. Wow, that's
didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is just me sort of assuming not necessarily assuming that all Latinos are into lowriders, but sort of how if we were to review one, it's almost hard not to address the stereotype and kind of like either dismantle it or explain why it became a stereotype in the first place.
Right.
But
like where did they begin?
Yeah.
Did it come from racing or? like, how did lowriders begin? I wonder if that's our RCR stories, maybe.
Possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
once I'm done with the next one, yeah, absolutely, maybe.
The thing is, Pennsylvania roads around here don't really lend themselves to low cars. People try. You'd think lowriders would make a lot more sense, because when the road gets bad, you just raise the
Mm,
car up and you can go over the potholes and stuff. Um, but then again, I think just putting coilovers on your car is way cheaper than having to get an air tank, an air
yeah,
compressor, air shocks to be able to articulate all this. You have to build a control box for it. Suddenly, it's not as simple as just bolting on stuff. You have to engineer this, run airlines, all that sort of thing.
yeah.
Uh, do 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 do. Very legal and very cool. There's a familiar name. Will you guys come to Seattle as well? 3 hours from PDX. Unfortunately, no, we're not coming up into the
Mm,
Seattle area. We're coming up to as far as St. Helens. Good question, though. We have yet to be in Seattle. I do remember the lighthouse at Alki Point. My aunt used to live near there, so I'm familiar with that at least, although that was in the 90s. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the $2. K Todd says, "Here's some cash. I'll catch you later. I'll catch this later on Spotify." Very
thank you.
cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. Crazy Ivan 2 times. There's a familiar face. Hi guys. Hope you have fun in Arizona. I'm sure we will. That's going to be a good
Mm,
trip because March is always screw this winter.
yeah,
That's going to be great. Leaving there when it's supposed to be warm, but it isn't warm yet. We actually get to go to a warm place.
yeah.
Speed Sausage. Thank you for the donation. Have you ever run into any of your students from Anchorage, or excuse me, Alaska? No, I talked to my supervising teacher on the phone like once, and his kids are now well into college. They're probably out of college by now. It's been 5 years. They've been out. So, no, I haven't heard from any of those guys yet. I think about Alaska a lot. Um, I'd certainly like to go back, although that would be almost like going to another country because we talked about this. It's not as simple. It's either you fly to Seattle and then you after the 5 hours to Seattle, it's another 4 hours to Anchorage,
Yeah.
or you fly to Chicago and then you're on a plane for like 8.5 hours
Eee.
to yeah, like getting to Anchorage is farther away than Manchester. So
That's niche.
yeah, you're going up to the Arctic Circle. You're way up there, man.
That is no, that's a bridge too far for me. And I was watching
Although I
or
would like to go back to Alaska for skiing. It
I
all
would
comes back to skiing for me because it's the winter.
I was listening to NPR yesterday of all things. And it was talking about how the census is actually going to start in a fairly remote village in Alaska. And they have to, do all this, RPG fetch quest things to get there of,
Yeah.
first you have to take the plane and then you got to take, you got to have the hounds or
Yeah.
the snow dogs get you over there. And then
Oh, I'm sure
you
they
got
got
to,
snow machines
yeah,
or
I know.
Hondas.
It's just, but it's starting in a fairly remote village away from major metropolitan areas with a name that I can't pronounce because,
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm terrible at pronunciation. So, yeah, it's just people tend to overlook how enormous Alaska is and how remote many parts of it
It's
is.
1/3 of the size of the lower 48.
Damn.
I mean, you can
Hot
get the globe
damn.
over there. You can get a little digital caliper and really see how big it is.
You probably could.
Um, what are your thoughts? Small factory studio. Mr. Regular, your thoughts on the new Honda Monkey 125? I love it. I love old throwback stuff from the 70s. I think it's using the same engine as the Honda Grom 125, or maybe it's the one that's going to be in the revamped Cub.
Hmm.
So I think it's pretty good. I have yet to see one. I'm sure it's going to be super hip. You'll probably see them in Manhattan. Mini bikes are a ball of laughs. They don't work around here because anywhere you got to go in the mid-state PA, you're going on a highway and you need to go 65 miles an hour. And then trucks and all that sort of fun stuff. So They don't really work as because we don't really have cities around here. And as we talked about before, when you walk to um uh the farmhouse,
Yeah.
you live in a well, it's a
It's
city,
a
kindy,
city.
but you can walk from one side to the other if you
Yeah, it's
have
an
to.
yeah, it's not gonna be one of those, but it's also there's the main city, but also all the outlying sort of suburbs that all get put under the umbrella of the city, so
Mhm.
that
You need a car to get there.
yeah, you need a car to get
No
there, but if you're
sidewalks
in the
go there.
city proper,
Right.
you know. Mm. Sorry, I was just looking through
It's also a cost thing because around here you can still buy like a cheap car for $1,000 versus one of those 125 motorcycles that are also $1,000, and it's going to be kind of the same. Although
yeah.
Justin Kramer from the YouTube channel Fuel Injection Sucks had this quip on Facebook the other day saying, "Oh, tax season! I can already hear those tax cars overheating." And I didn't know what that was. And they're like, "What's a tax car?" And he says, "That's the $1,000 Nissan Murano you buy that makes it home and then overheats."
Yeah.
Like people are like, "Oh, they got their tax return. They're going to buy a new car. It's going to be a new $1,000 car
Yeah.
that's going to need $2,000 worth of work." So,
Absolutely. I mean, yeah,
ugh.
just thinking of the season. Sorry, I'm looking through for the some non super chat questions. One is from Patrick McFarland asking if we would ever consider going on a non car related podcast because we have some interesting takes on society and would love to chat with you. If so, I'll shoot you an email. And I mean, we've been on non car related podcasts before. Like we went on the Art Fight podcast in
Yeah.
Nashville, and that was a really fun podcast to do because we got to talk at length about literature and
Yeah.
other things, sort of psychology and
Mhm.
literary theory. It's one of those things where I think if there's something to talk about, then there's something to talk about. It's just finding the time to like we have a hard enough time finding time to do our own podcast.
Yeah.
So it's just rough because, always busy, always trying to get to the next video, the next trip, the
Yeah.
next big milestone of some kind. So
But if we got
yeah.
an invite from Rogan, we would be on the next
Oh
plane.
yeah, on the oh,
Next plane
forget it. Yeah,
immediately.
sorry, we're missing Monday.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Meow. Um, Joe, speaking of Joe, Joe Cannon doesn't have a question, but thank you so much for the donation. We'll put it to good use. Julio again. Oh, thank you so much for the second question. Unorthodox question here, but what are your ethnic backgrounds? I'm a white guy.
I mean, I'm a white guy too, but also Puerto Rican. Like, because there's your cultural or ethnic, like your heritage, but there's also I would imagine how you like. I'm for all intents and purposes, I'm white, but like I'm a white Hispanic, or a white Latino. It's one of those things where
Yeah.
both my parents were Puerto Rican. I mean,
How did that's a weird thing because you meet your mom?
super New Yorker, like
Yeah.
because she lived in like 3 out of the 5 boroughs,
Mhm.
moving around a lot, and yeah, but all my Puerto Rican, like only my uncle John actually kind of looks well. No, my Delia Eli does too, but
Your
it's
your brother has way darker complexion.
yeah, because he would like actually go outside. Like
Oh.
I was kind of like the indoor son of
Okay.
just kind of well, but then like my sister would go out too, and we're similarly complected, so it's just different because like my brother. Each of us got a different aspect from my dad. So like I got his eyes, my brother got his like thick, lustrous hair, and I'm very
Mm,
jealous. And my sister got his freckles. So it's like this thing of and then for my mom, we all kind of look like my mom too,
mhm,
in our own different vague ways.
mhm.
Uh, but when you combine it all together, it's like we don't really look that Puerto Rican. But I mean, I had an ex who was like, "Oh, I always figured you were like Puerto Rican." I'm like, "Really? How?" Because I this was before like I had facial hair or
Mm,
anything. Like not like I could grow facial hair. I just wasn't like wearing it out like this.
mhm,
So yeah, it's strange. Like my Spanish is terrible, so it's I'm like the worst Puerto Rican in the world, but I try.
mhm.
And the food is fantastic. If you have the chance to eat Puerto Rican food, I would definitely recommend it because literally anything, like
Mhm.
just pick something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. But yeah,
Do you have any restaurants you recommend in the area?
not offhand, because the problem is also like putting where my location is, but also the broader thing of like they're all like the restaurants are good, but they're not the same as like home.
Mm,
It's something where it's and I understand that that's a difficult thing if you're trying to get somebody to sample Puerto Rican cuisine and they don't have places where they can go to really experience it. Like I
mm-hmm,
live in a very Hispanic, Latino dense community.
mm-hmm.
So there's no lack of places like I don't know, Chimmy's, La Casa de Chimmy, the this old San Juan Cafe. There are places in my area to go, but they're not going to be like nationwide places if people aren't from around here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very proud of my heritage, and it always used to bug me as a kid when people think that it's like a Puerto Rican immigrant. I'm like, there isn't. The Puerto Ricans are
That's
Americans.
not, it's a contradiction
Like,
in terms.
let me show you the passport for a Puerto Rican. Like, boom, it's the same as like an
Mhm.
American passport. It's whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very happy person. I'm a happy Puerto Rican.
You know who else is Puerto Rican that I didn't even know?
Angry Joe.
Angry Joe?
Oh, I thought you were gonna mention like another YouTuber. Oh,
No, guy we know.
Tony Airlines.
Tony Airlines.
Yeah, he's like half
Right.
or a
It's
quarter,
like
or is it half?
I guess he's got the pilot complexion, which is again a lot of indoors.
Yeah,
And then like he showed me pictures of actually his brother. This is gonna be weird. I shouldn't touch on that.
yeah,
But see, I don't know. I want to describe a certain facial feature, but I worry that I tread on inaccurate language. So I'll ask you off mic.
yeah,
Um, but uh, when he showed me a picture of his family, I was like, "Oh, why do you look like that?" And he's like, "Ma." Well, happily again indoors all the time,
yeah,
but he is like pasty white. I get the only time I was mistaken for any other ethnicity was Middle Eastern. Um, because I guess my nose is a little bit long.
yeah.
Maybe that.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. Um,
It'll probably get wider because I think eventually I'm going to have that surgery so I can breathe better because my left nostril has felt like it's been clogged for 2 years. And if
yeah,
I stick a Q-tip up it and push out, like expand the nostril, I can breathe through this side.
yeah.
Mm.
It's rough.
It's probably like cartilage. Now I fell on my face a number of times. Again, it's skiing.
Yeesh.
So I've never had I had a nosebleed once in my life. Once. I've been hit in the face a bunch, and both with boxing gloves and I mean, when I say hit in the face, I mean just popped with sparring at the gym. But just doing dumb stuff on bicycles, I got bashed up a lot, and my nose never bled. So I wonder if there's like um uh just like calcified deposits or something hard up there that just is like a sliver on this side. I can't really breathe out. Anyway, that's disgusting. Now I need to blow my nose again to try to get like 1% more flow out of that side of the nose.
Tony Airlines in the chat saying sorullitos are his favorite Puerto Rican snack, which that's just like fried cornmeal
Fried cornmeal.
sticks. Yeah,
Is it like fried? Is it like funnel cake?
kind of. I almost want to say it's closer to hush puppies.
Okay.
It's good. It's just like you should never have it. Like that's the thing
It's
about
so
Puerto
good
Rican
you
food.
should never have
Like
it.
Puerto Rican food, it's just like that's the rub of it's but
Okay, we're probably gonna have to get the sign out here in a minute.
yeah.
Kevin or Keva.
Kev comedian. Oh, Kevco
Kevo
85. Are there
there any
plans to
for
come?
to Germany? Oh,
Wow.
I thought we
Yeah.
were gonna owe me a Coke.
Oh.
Are there plans to come to Germany? Not at this moment, but I wanna.
Mm.
We got to do the pilgrimage to the Holy Land, the Autobahn, and all that fun stuff. I have an idea of what I want to do, but again, that's deep into the future.
Yeah.
all this talk, it's probably the same distance to get to Anchorage as it is to get to Germany. I think we can go Philly to Hamburg or Philly to Berlin or something like that. I think American does direct from
Huh?
Philly to Germany, um,
But not to Portland.
but not to Portland. You got to go through O'Hare
Huh.
or Dallas Fort Worth. And then there's another one that connects through Phoenix Sky Harbor, which is like the longest thing. It's crazy. Like the time to get to LA is 4 hours and 45 minutes, sometimes five.
Huh.
But the travel time to get to Portland is 10 hours because we got to, no matter what, you have a layover.
Yeah. There's no choice.
I think I'm going to take the one, as Tony and I were talking about how um, O'Hare sucks, but O'Hare does have an Admiral's Lounge in it.
Yeah.
So I got that card and my plus one. So both of us, if we have that stopover, probably do it in O'Hare
Yeah. Why
and
not?
just chill in the Admiral's Lounge.
Yeah.
Have our clean, quiet place. Joshy Boy doesn't have a question, but thank you much for the generous donation of $10 Canadian.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Daniel, Nick, can you take Daniel's question while I blow my nose furiously?
Yeah. And sorry for continuing to look down. I'm either screenshotting questions or pulling up screenshotted questions. So yeah. Wait, whose am I doing? Daniel. Oh, how do you feel about playing against type when it comes to cars? I've long had a dream of turning my Regal T-Type into an autocross track day car, and the idea just makes me smile. One student loan left. Well, congratulations on only one student loan left. I believe in you and your ability to pay it off. And yeah, when it comes to playing against type with cars, um, it's funny because I think part of when we went to Harris Hill Raceway was it was almost like a celebration of playing against type with cars because they had a whole wall full of cars that and track times for cars that realistically have no business being on a track. And that's before we even got there with the On It food truck. You know, they had SWAT vehicles, they had old beaters from like the late 80s, early 90s and earlier, stuff that realistically was in no condition to be on the track rather. I think if I remember correctly, there was even like somebody on a unicycle who was on the roster of vehicles and track times. So I always think it's nice to play against type because you get to see what a car is actually capable of. And I know that that's a fairly trite thing to say, but also you get to experience something outside of the comfort zone for which it was intended so that you can really test the limits of the engineering behind the car because I believe in a lot of instances that a car can be measured not necessarily by what its top line capabilities are, but what its bare minimum is. So even if your car isn't intended to be a track car, there's something impressive about taking it out on a track and finding out that it's actually more capable, that they designed it to be capable beyond what you would reasonably need it for. And I think we found this out when we did well, oh, no, we didn't really find it out with that. But I was going to say the one Falcon that we took out on Harris Hill Raceway, but I think there are certain cars that may surprise you and there's nothing more wonderful than well, okay, that's hyperbole, but there are a few things more wonderful than being surprised by something in a good way. And that's kind of like why I keep my expectations low in all things because I like being surprised by things and I don't like being disappointed. So, you know, it's something where at some point, you realize that maybe this thing that you thought was just a little crawler, a little beater that isn't meant to go very far, suddenly, has something of track credibility. It's something that could actually stand the rigors of more enthusiastic and aggressive and athletic driving. And that's what I like about cars because they have capacity to surprise, to reveal aspects of themselves that we didn't necessarily take into consideration. So, absolutely, I think go for it with your T-type. And report back. Let me know how it goes. I mean, Lord knows it wouldn't be the wildest thing that ever got put on a track for an autocross day or track day car. So, yeah, and best of luck on that last student loan. So, thank you very much for the donation. Very
Thank
much
you.
appreciated.
Are we up to message deleted?
Oh, yes.
Message deleted. Whoever you are, thank you.
Thank you. And then
Will down.
Jacob,
Oh, excuse me.
there's also Jacob, who's Jacob K. If you ever come to Poland, I have a lot of friends with really cool cars who love your channel. Maybe try saying the German name of my city, Stettin. Stettin.
Stettin.
Stettin. That was so Pennsylvanian.
Stettin.
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 Water. Rough.
Picture.
Oh yeah.
Will Down says, what aftermarket head units are in your cars? Mine's a Kenwood and yours is a JVC.
Yeah, it's a JVC.
It's just you buy them.
Yeah.
They have Bluetooth. It plays what's on your phone. And I had this rant, and it's crazy how they work better than factory head units that's supposed to do Bluetooth. You got to swipe everywhere. This is an old man thing, but the aftermarket like JVC and Kenwood head units, you turn them on and they just connect to your phone. You go to Bluetooth and it plays whatever your phone does.
Yeah.
Great. Good.
That's terrific.
Yes.
It's most good. It's most good indeed.
Okay, we are done with super chats now.
Not necessarily. Some came in right before the sign went up.
Okay, before the sign has gone up, have some booze bucks, please. Well, thank you so much, Rec. Thank you so much.
$10.
Thank you.
That's generous.
I will gladly have a beverage tonight.
Lud McFly, thoughts on is that euros?
Looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the PSA FCA merger?
All right, so we're Fiat Chrysler of America and Peugeot, I think.
I believe so. Although please correct us in the chat if we're mistaken.
That's funny. An American car owned by the French.
Yeah, I know. It's so. I think I've lost my ability to be surprised by these mergers.
Yeah.
In that they become so almost like commonplace, and then it almost feels like nothing really changes.
Yeah.
It's more of the same stuff anyway, of like, we're still going to get the same sort of safe, soft, it's kind of like treading
Jeep
water.
For Karen.
Yeah. It's that middle, it's middle of the road. It doesn't do anything for me. Now watch them put out something where I'm like, must have, want it.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath for those type of things.
Right.
So, yeah. Cesario JPN.
Thank you.
Who is back. I only remember because from the first time.
You guys be on VinWiki. We were mentioned by the guy who had the Corvette one where he did an impression of me. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. I'm open to being on VinWiki. I don't know where they're from. You got to go to their studio.
Yeah,
looks like everybody goes to their studio. The thing is, we got crazy stories, but we told most of them here. If they invite us, we'll go.
I always realize, because I'm under the mistaken impression that all other podcast YouTubers, everyone is all in the same like greater Los Angeles area.
Yeah,
and I forget that like there are people who literally do not, it's like Straight Pipes, for crying out loud, or all those good fellas, or Gears and Gasoline, I think.
Yeah, they stayed in Virginia.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Unless something changed, which, to be fair, I'm terrible at keeping up, but yeah.
I stink.
By the way, Nick, nice dice. Well, thank you very much. We almost made it through the entire podcast without mentioning the dice.
Yeah.
I don't remember where these came from. I just had them in the trunk of my car, and I think they might have been a holdover from when my mom retired from teaching, and these were just something that she had in her classroom, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but I decided, like, because last week I had a belt, a wrestling belt, and decided, like, well, what if I just make it a running gag where I have some random prop that never gets addressed each podcast?
I wonder if the act of putting the sign made the screen dark and that camera is adjusting
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Let's do a test. Well,
Nah,
yeah.
it is what it is. The podcast is pretty much ending.
Right.
The big thing is that I mean, I'm sure eventually I would run out of props, but I kind of like the idea in a very hack kind of way of just having a random prop that never gets addressed
Yeah.
because I'm just here with these things. I don't know. Hey, yeah, next time Roman should be holding truck nuts. Maybe I will. Who's to say? I
Yeah.
mean, well, actually, no, because I'm not gonna buy a prop for this.
Right.
Like, it's got to be something that I just have laying around,
Right.
and that it becomes increasingly ridiculous the things that I have laying around.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why would a grown man have this? You
Mhm.
know, but it's I don't know. That's just what comedy is to me of things that are big noodle incidents where things that are kind of referenced but not really addressed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think let me check one more time to see if there's any
Okay.
non super chat that I didn't get around to. Uh, this man, the main man route asks, would you ever consider doing another airplane?
Yes. There is a RCR Stories coming out that features an airplane and also Tony Airlines. I
Very nice.
do want to be in more airplanes. I want to take flying lessons and, well, when I say flying lessons, I mean flying lessons with Tony because I'm very relaxed with him.
Yeah.
Um, because he is very tolerant of me. So I'd like to be in other planes, but then I also like being able to source planes that also Tony can fly because he's enthusiastic about planes how I am about cars. So he knows what weird stuff is. Most planes look the same to me. You know, you're at the airport. I can't tell if that's a Boeing or an Airbus or an Embraer or who cares.
Yeah, it's all just various forms of I have no idea what you're talking about,
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's great,
but
but
he does. So it's fun to be around somebody who knows stuff that I don't know about.
yeah.
And isn't that life?
And last but not least, Freaky Soup asks, Nick, I need to know if you've seen any of the Vince McMahon directed by David Lynch videos. And I have. They're fabulous. I love the surreal. I love in the McGregor fight this past weekend, which lasted all of 40 seconds.
Yeah.
But Joe Rogan made a point of noting that like Conor McGregor's walk is basically Vince McMahon's billionaire walk, which because everyone's like, oh, look at Conor's swag. It's like, no, and Connor's even admitted this of like he's doing the Vince McMahon walk. I'm like, no chance. That's what you got. Swinging the arms around. But yeah, it's hilarious. And that fight was just incredibly weird. Like, who hits somebody with their shoulders? Like,
Right,
he's like
right.
going shoulders.
Wasn't expecting that.
Like he's doing the Thriller dance.
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
Even Cowboy said, yeah, those hit, then I got hit with shoulders.
Yeah, it's like, how do you plan a defense against that?
I
Like,
mean, it is a thing because people like to joke like Connor doesn't have a wrestling or a grappling game. I mean, he clearly does, but he hasn't really had an answer for Nick Diaz.
Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
There were two Nate Diaz.
Yeah, two Nate Diaz
once, and both of them wrestling was an issue. First, clearly in the first one, he got choked out, and the second one, like when Connor started gassing and Diaz just was able to weather the storm.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing sort of happened twice because with Diaz, all he has to do is get past the first round.
Yeah.
And then he gets to step it up and start pounding on Connor. Will we see it's all been Nate, right? Or has been Nick?
Yeah, it's been Nate.
Nate,
Yeah.
but never Nick.
With
The other
Connor?
Diaz.
Because Nick was an MMA fighter too, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. But
Is Nick out? Nick hasn't.
I don't think Nick does anymore, and I think
Okay.
Nate's pretty much out too. But
Mhm.
like, unless they back up the dump truck for the
For-
the
yeah,
trilogy,
The trilogy, yeah.
But it's funny just because thinking about it, you know, some people have these sort of demons that they can't conquer in the terms of like an athletic contest of like you could be a world beater and beat everyone else, and then there's just this one guy for whatever reason
Yeah.
has the perfect combination of weird things that you just can't get past,
Yeah.
and that guy will like then lose to like everybody else, but like you can't beat them, and that's
Yeah.
kind of it's rock paper scissors. It's a Rousey home Tate. So
Mhm.
like Ronda beats Misha beats Holly beats Ronda.
Mhm.
Of course, I don't know how you do that with your
Right,
hands,
yeah.
but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's a podcast then.
That's a podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is not possible without your kind support. So thank you very much for joining us. I am Nick,
I'm Brian.
and we will catch you next time, whenever next time is.
Okay. Have a good night. Bye. Man, that screen gets really, really dark.
It really does.
Now watch, it's gonna lighten right up. Right
Yep, there it goes.
There it goes.
It is the sign. Maybe we should put the sign like.
Maybe I need to get a black sign.
Maybe.
Yeah, or just put it behind us.
Yeah.
Something like that. All right.
So yeah, tonight I will have my notes like once I get in the door.
Okay.
Cool.